So it's a little after 8 and it's warmed up to, say, 38 degrees Fahrenheit. But the crazy thing is, today it's going to get up to a high of 73, which is about 23 degrees Celsius.
Hey everybody, I was just about to say good morning when I realized that it hasn't been a good morning. It's a beautiful day, but it has not been a good morning. It's been rather challenging. And my brain wouldn't let me say those words. And as I drove into town here to the studio, listening to the book, The Master and His Emissary, I'm taking what he's saying and using that as a lens to reflect upon my day so far. And it's been rather insightful. So here we go. The current project at my family's house, which was essentially to figure out why the freezer was wobbling, and turned into so far a 2-month project of tearing out the floor, digging a cellar by hand, redoing the foundation, building cabinetry, building a stairwell and a trap door, and on and on and on. The job just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and my family's getting frustrated. But from my perspective, I see massive progress. I see a huge upgrade to a part of the house that my family has struggled with for over 40 years. It's like, hey, look at this. It's getting better and better and better. Can you not see that? But all they see is the job isn't done. The job isn't done. So this morning I had a conversation with my mom and dad as I was assessing what I was going to be doing later in the day. And they were panicking because their right hemisphere was taking in the scene, the construction zone, the chaos, the disarray, the lack of completeness, without their left hemisphere being able to see a clear path through to completion. So the right hemisphere, not knowing what the job is because they're not doing the job, I am, they look at it and they're like, I don't know what this is. It's overwhelming. It's too much. It's never going to get finished. I can't see how this ever turns into a pantry again, because they're not doing the job. So their left hemisphere doesn't know how to break it apart, doesn't know how to put it into neat little boxes that allows them to see, oh, look at that. We're on this phase. We're in the electrical and painting phase right now. And then the next phase will be the cabinetry, etc. They just see chaos. So a lot of what I was doing this morning was managing their panic and helping them to see the steps that were going to be taken. Like, here we are. This is what's going on. This is what's going to happen next. And this is what's going to happen next. And I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but this is the plan. But the right hemisphere keeps coming back in and feeding the left hemisphere with a global perspective that it doesn't know what to do with. So when the left hemisphere tries to talk about what they're feeling, they use words like always and never and nothing. And anybody that's had a conversation with someone and you never do this, you always do that, that's what's going on. The right hemisphere is totally flooded with feeling. It doesn't see a specific path or specific instances. So all it gives to the left to turn into language is a global experience. And the left is like, well, it must be happening all the time, always, or it must never be happening. You never do this. But if we allow for some deliberate investigation and consideration, we find out that that's not the case. And this is one of the reasons that depression can become problematic or become an illness, because the right hemisphere is flooded with this global sense of overwhelm. It can't see clearly through it because that's not what it does. That's the left hemisphere's job, and the left isn't getting much blood, so the right dominates, and when the left tries to talk about it, all it can speak of are these globals, these permanent global states. Always, never, everywhere, or nowhere. No one likes me. That's the right hemisphere being flooded and the left just using what little blood it has to try to talk about those feelings. So a big part of what I was trying to do this morning, and what I'll have to continue doing through the course of this job, or as long as my family owns the farm, because it has a lot of work that needs to be done, I've got to get them to focus on specific details. Like, if you look at the big picture, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to see a way through. So let's look at this one thing. What is the one thing that we're going to take care of today, right? That's the focus. So let's slow down and allow that picture to emerge so that we can move the project forward. Because just freaking out about the fact that it's not done and then getting emotionally flooded, well, how are we supposed to take a step there? What step are you going to take other than to panic, freak out, and make a rash, reactive decision? It doesn't end well. So once again, it's not as if the feeling right hemisphere is always better than this analytical, categorizing left hemisphere. We need them both. We need them to work together. Okay, I've got this feeling of overwhelm. How can I break this into smaller pieces, focus on those pieces, and start moving something forward? And get the right hemisphere to focus on the feelings that occur or arise in the midst of that step with that thing. So we're not eliminating the right, we're just getting it to bring its feeling into this one thing rather than the global whole. Okay, upstairs to do some work. See ya. One of today's jobs at the house is to fill in the hole after I fixed up the foundation. And then we got to scrape and paint this side of the house. I have to put on a storm door there and get this all winterized. I just finished a 4-mile run in a day that was packed and felt totally claustrophobic. I've been going since I got up this morning, and lots of things and people pulling me in different directions. And I know that I feel better and I think better and I frame better if I move, but it's like, where am I going to fit this in? So I found a small window. It didn't feel like a big window, but there's a window, and I took it. And in the process of moving, time expanded, and that feeling of claustrophobia dissipated. And it felt like I was out on a motorcycle going down the road. No, it felt like I was cruising in my day rather than feeling all the pressure. And that sense of claustrophobia, that sense of the world kind of crashing down on me, closing in on me, that was inside of a particular story. It was inside of a particular frame. And a lot of the things that felt absolutely urgent in the moment, I realized they're not urgent. They can wait. The day doesn't need to be compressed like this. So just because I moved my body, just because I took a tiny window, maybe I can get 10 minutes of running in, it expanded into 30 minutes of running, and now suddenly the day feels lighter, and I'm going to shoot a few hoops here on my ancient basketball court. So on the days when you feel like you don't have time to move, movement is going to change the way that you feel about time. But don't commit to a large chunk of movement. Don't say, okay, I have to do 30 minutes. I have to do an hour. I got to find the time. Just get yourself into movement. Let it be 5 minutes. Let it be 10. In the course of moving, time will change. The day will get bigger, and things will get less urgent, less important. Okay? All right, see you in a bit.